Hey everyone, welcome back to the Daily English Listening Podcast. I'm Michelle, and if you're looking to expand your vocabulary or learn new expressions in English, this podcast is perfect for you.
And I'm Chris. I'm glad to be here.
So Chris, what do you know about discipline?
Real discipline isn't loud. It's not a 5 a.m. photo or a big speech. It's keeping a promise you made to yourself when literally nobody else knows about it.
When there's no audience at all.
Right. Acting even when you're tired, even when you don't feel like it and nobody's around to clap for you.
That quiet, unwatched moment is where everything actually gets decided.
That's the difference between people who build something extraordinary and people who just keep finding new excuses.
Discipline isn't trying to impress you, it's trying to turn you into someone you can actually trust.
Speaking of promises to yourself, how did your morning actually go, Michelle?
Honestly, I got my run in. Barely, but I did it.
Okay, that's already more disciplined than my morning.
What happened?
I set my alarm for 6, turned it off, and had a very meaningful conversation with my pillow instead.
Who won that conversation?
The pillow. It always wins. It has a perfect record, honestly.
That gap between what you plan at midnight and what you actually do at 6 a.m., that's basically today's whole episode.
The distance between the plan and the person who actually has to get out of bed.
And I think a lot of learners feel this same tension with English.
Oh, completely. Everyone wants to speak fluently. Almost nobody wants to practice on a random Tuesday when they're tired and it's raining outside.
And if this is already feeling useful, this is a good moment to subscribe to the Daily English Listening Podcast so you don't miss an episode.
And a like on this video genuinely helps more people find us.
But that's the heart of it, isn't it? Wanting the result without wanting the boring daily work underneath it.
Wanting the fluent version of yourself without wanting the slow, awkward version who actually has to sit down and practice.
That's discipline in a nutshell. Not talent, not motivation, just showing up, especially on the days you'd rather not.
And it's funny because most learners think the problem is their level. My English isn't good enough yet.
But usually the level isn't the real problem. The missing practice is.
Right, nobody wakes up one morning suddenly fluent. It's built 10 unglamorous minutes at a time on days nobody's watching.
Which brings us back to today's topic, and honestly, to both of our lives this year.
Okay, give me a discipline story, Michelle. I feel like you have a very organized one ready.
I do, actually, and it's not about running, it's about English.
Even better.
About 4 months ago, I made a small commitment to myself, 10 minutes of speaking English out loud every single day, no matter what.
10 minutes doesn't sound so scary.
It isn't on paper, but the first week I skipped Wednesday because I was tired. Then I skipped Thursday because I told myself Wednesday had already ruined the week.
The classic domino excuse.
That's the kind of thinking that turns one missed day into a missed month.
I know that domino personally. My Selfa and I are very familiar with it.
I believe you. But that first week is precisely why so many people quit in month 1 before the habit has any chance to feel normal.
Because the first days are the hardest and also the least rewarding.
Right. There's no visible result yet, just effort with nothing to show for it.
So what changed?
I decided to stop relying on how I felt. I made myself accountable instead. I asked my sister to text me every night and ask if I'd done my 10 minutes. Here's something we want to ask you, actually. Who is the one person who could check in on your promise this week? Not to judge you, just to ask.
Write their name in the comments, or write nobody yet if you haven't picked anyone. We read every single comment, and sometimes just naming that person makes the whole thing feel a little more real.
So your sister basically became your discipline partner.
In a way, yes. Knowing someone would ask made it so much harder to quietly skip.
Because skipping stops being private.
Right, and that's when I noticed something. The days I didn't feel like practicing were actually the most important ones.
Why's that?
Because anyone can practice when they're motivated. The real test is whether you show up when your willpower is completely empty.
Willpower running on empty. I know that feeling well. There was one Tuesday I still remember clearly. I'd barely slept, I had a headache, and my motivation was completely gone.
The kind of day where even 10 minutes feels like a mountain.
That's precisely the kind of day I mean, and I almost skipped it. So what stopped you?
I'd already told my sister I would text her either way, so I sat down and spoke for 10 minutes about how tired I was in English, and that was the whole practice.
Does that even count?
It counts completely. Discipline on a bad day doesn't look impressive. It just looks like showing up as a smaller, tireder version of yourself.
That's maybe the most honest sentence you've said all episode. The strange part is about 6 weeks, it stopped needing willpower at all. It just became something I did, like brushing my teeth before bed.
That's consistency right there.
That's consistency, not one dramatic effort, just the same small thing repeated, even on the boring days.
And now?
Now, I speak English out loud every single day, even if it's just talking to my coffee about my schedule for the afternoon.
Does your coffee ever talk back?
Not yet. I'm a little concerned about the day it does.
But seriously, was there a moment you noticed it actually working?
There was. About 2 months in, someone asked me a fairly complicated question in English, out of nowhere, and I just answered it. No pause, no panic searching for words in my head first.
So before, that same question would have made your heart race. You would have needed 10 seconds just to organize the first sentence.
So the 10 minutes a day quietly built something you couldn't see happening.
That's the part nobody tells you about discipline. You don't feel the progress daily. You just wake up one day and the hard thing isn't hard anymore.
Okay, my turn to be honest then. Let me guess, it involves your sofa.
It absolutely involves my sofa. Last year, I told myself I would learn 30 new English phrases a month. Big plan, very serious spreadsheet.
A spreadsheet. I'm already proud of you.
The spreadsheet lasted 4 days.
What happened on day 5?
Day 5, I opened the spreadsheet, felt a wave of guilt, closed the spreadsheet, and opened a bag of chips instead.
Procrastination's favorite snack.
I procrastinated so well that month that I basically turned it into a skill. Monday, I cleaned my kitchen instead. Tuesday, I reorganized my sock drawer instead.
None of that was English.
None of it was English, but it felt productive, which is honestly the most dangerous kind of avoiding something.
So when did you actually follow through?
Only after I got a little discouraged and finally admitted the spreadsheet was never going to save me. Spreadsheets don't practice English. People do.
That's a very quotable sentence for someone who once organized snacks alphabetically. What was the actual moment that changed it then?
I was on a video call with a stranger from an English practice app, and I froze for almost 10 full seconds trying to say something as simple as what I do for work.
10 seconds of silence feels like an hour when someone's watching you on a screen.
It felt like a year, and afterward I didn't feel angry at my English. I felt angry that I'd had 30 phrases sitting in a spreadsheet for a month and had practiced maybe 6 of them.
What did you say in the end?
Eventually, I just said, "Sorry, give me a second. I'm still finding the word," which honestly was probably the most disciplined sentence I said that whole month.
That's a strange kind of victory.
It is, because instead of quitting the call, I stayed uncomfortable for a few more minutes, and the next day, that discomfort turned into actual motivation.
So the embarrassment actually became useful.
Strangely, yes. I stopped trying to learn 30 phrases a month and just committed to 3 phrases a week, small enough that skipping felt almost silly.
Lower the bar until you can't say no to it.
Basically, yes. And once I actually followed through for 2 weeks straight, something clicked. I wasn't waiting to feel inspired anymore.
You just did it.
I just did it, which, coming from someone who once alphabetized snacks instead of studying, feels like real growth.
It genuinely does.
And the strange part is, it wasn't the big plan that worked. It was the embarrassingly small one.
The one you could actually keep.
The one I could actually keep. My 30-phrase spreadsheet looked impressive. My 3 phrases a week plan actually happened.
That might be the real lesson buried under all your sock drawer jokes.
I'll allow that, just this once.
So here's what I think we both learned today, in very different ways.
Go on.
Discipline isn't about having more willpower than everyone else.
No, it's about needing less of it because you've built a small system around yourself.
A person who checks in, a goal small enough that skipping feels strange, a routine instead of a decision every single day.
That's actually the core idea. Every time something becomes a decision, tired you gets a vote, and tired you almost always votes no.
Tired me votes no on everything. Vegetables, exercise, English practice, all of it.
But if it's already decided, if it's just what you do at 7 p.m. no matter what, tired you doesn't get asked. There's no debate. You just do the 10 minutes.
There's also something else I noticed now that I think about it. I made my environment do some of the work for me.
What do you mean?
I put my English app right on my home screen, first row, so it's the first thing I see, and I moved the Games app somewhere I have to search for it.
So the easy choice became the lazy choice, in a good way.
Right. I didn't need more willpower, I just needed fewer obstacles between me and the 10 minutes.
That's such a small change with a surprisingly big effect.
And once those small things stack up, you start to feel actual momentum. The habit almost pulls you forward instead of you having to push it.
Momentum is a strange thing. You barely notice it building, and then one day it's just carrying you.
Which is the opposite of how it feels on day one, when every single minute takes real deliberate effort.
Momentum. I like that word. It's like the opposite of that Tuesday morning with my sofa.
Precisely the opposite. On a good week, one small win makes the next one easier, and the whole thing gathers speed.
And there's one more thing. I started doing my hardest, most annoying task first before anything else in the day.
Before checking messages, before coffee, before anything.
Before all of it. Because if I leave the uncomfortable thing for later, later somehow never arrives.
So the 10 minutes of English happens before your brain has time to talk you out of it.
That's precisely what happens.
I like that. Do the hardest thing first while your excuses haven't fully woken up yet.
Before they've had their coffee. There's one more piece I keep coming back to, actually. It's less about what you do and more about who you decide you are.
What do you mean?
When I skipped those first few days on my sofa, I was thinking of myself as someone who's trying to learn English.
And now?
Now I think of myself as someone who practices English. It sounds like a small difference, but it changes everything.
Because someone who's trying can quit without breaking any rule. Someone who practices would be breaking a promise to who they already are.
That's it, precisely. The habit stops being a task on a list and becomes part of your identity.
I like that a lot more than any spreadsheet.
And I think that's why people confuse discipline with punishment. It isn't. It's more like a favor you do for the person you'll be in 6 months.
Future you who can actually hold a conversation in English without freezing halfway through.
Future you who doesn't have to feel discouraged every single time someone asks how the practice is going.
So the real question isn't, do I feel like practicing today?
It's, did I keep the promise I made to myself, whether I felt like it or not?
That's a much harder question, and a much more honest one.
Speaking of honest, let's make this practical for a second.
Please, I love practical.
If you want to build this kind of discipline around your English, don't say, I'll practice when I have time.
Because that time never arrives.
Never. Say something like, I'll practice for 10 minutes right after dinner, and attach it to something you already do every day.
And if you skip one day?
You don't quit. You just say, I missed yesterday, but I'm showing up today, and you keep going.
One missed day is an accident. 2 missed days is starting to look like a decision.
That line should be on a poster somewhere.
Put it on your sock drawer, right next to the spreadsheet you never finished.
Fair. Very fair.
One more thing that helps, honestly. Say your 10 minutes out loud to someone else, the way I did with my sister.
Even if it's just texting a friend, I'm doing this today, before you actually do it.
The second you say it out loud, it stops being a private thought you can quietly forget.
It becomes a small promise with a witness.
And here's one more thing, specifically for my fellow perfectionists.
Oh, this one's for me too, honestly.
If you miss your 10 minutes, don't wait for Monday to start again.
The famous "I'll restart properly next week" trap.
That trap has ruined more good habits than laziness ever has. Start again at the very next opportunity, even if it's an awkward, half-finished Wednesday afternoon.
Because discipline isn't about a perfect streak.
It's about a short memory for your mistakes and a long memory for your goal.
I'm writing that one down.
One last practical tip. Once a week, look back for 2 minutes and ask what actually happened, not what you planned.
Because the plan can look great on paper and still not match reality.
That's precisely why the honest check-in matters more than the original plan ever did.
2 minutes, once a week, just noticing what really happened. That's it.
Small, honest, and easy to keep.
Now that we've used some strong words today, should we slow a few of them down?
Let's go to word tour.
First word, commitment. Repeat after me. Commitment. One more time. Commitment. And the last one, commitment.
A commitment is a promise you make to yourself or to someone else, and you intend to keep it even when it becomes difficult. For example, I made a commitment to practice English every day, even on the days I did not feel like it at all. Or, a strong relationship needs commitment from both people, not just good intentions on a Sunday. And commitment is not about feeling ready. It's about deciding in advance and following through anyway.
Here's the next word, accountable. Say it with me, accountable. Once more, accountable. And one last time, accountable.
To be accountable means you are responsible for something and someone else can actually check whether you did it. For example, I asked my sister to hold me accountable so I could not quietly disappear from my own goal. Or, sharing a goal with a friend can make you more accountable than keeping it a private secret. And being accountable is uncomfortable at first, but it's often the push a habit needs in order to survive its first month.
Moving on to our next word, consistency. Try it out loud. Consistency. Again, consistency. Last one, consistency.
Consistency means doing something regularly over time, instead of doing it perfectly just once. For example, consistency mattered more than intensity when I was building my English practice from nothing. Or, one great workout means very little without consistency in the weeks that follow it. And consistency is what slowly turns a difficult new habit into something that eventually feels automatic.
Here's the next phrase, willpower. Give it a try. Willpower. One more round, willpower. And to finish it off, willpower.
Willpower is the mental energy you use to control yourself and resist doing the easier, more comfortable thing. For example, my willpower was completely gone by 9 at night, so I moved my practice to the morning instead. Or, relying only on willpower is risky because willpower runs out faster than most people expect it to. And the strongest habits eventually need less willpower over time because the routine itself starts doing the work for you.
Next word, procrastinate. Repeat after me, procrastinate. Once more, procrastinate. And the last one, procrastinate.
To procrastinate means to delay something you should be doing, usually by doing something easier or more comfortable instead. For example, I used to procrastinate on my English practice by suddenly deciding to clean the entire kitchen. Or, students often procrastinate on writing an essay until the night before it's due. And procrastination usually isn't laziness. It's often just discomfort wearing a very convincing disguise.
Last phrase of the day, follow through. Try it out loud, follow through. One more time, follow through. And the final repeat, follow through.
To follow through means to actually complete an action after you have planned or promised it, instead of quietly stopping halfway. For example, Chris finally followed through on his English goal once he made it small enough to manage without a spreadsheet. Or, plenty of people set goals in January, but very few actually follow through by March. And following through, even in a small way, builds more trust in yourself than any perfect plan ever could.
You know, I think today's biggest lesson is that discipline was never about becoming a different kind of person.
No, it's about becoming someone who keeps small promises, even boring ones, especially the boring ones.
And that person, over months, quietly turns into someone who can actually do the thing they once found terrifying without needing anyone else to remind them.
Speak up in a meeting, hold a real conversation in English, finish what they started even when it would have been easier to stop.
Even the promise to speak one clumsy English sentence out loud when nobody's listening.
Especially that one. Nobody becomes fluent by accident. They become fluent by showing up on the days it would have been so easy not to.
No dramatic mornings required, no perfect spreadsheet either.
Just one small promise kept again tomorrow and then again the day after that.
And that's really what we said at the very start. Discipline doesn't need an audience.
It just needs you, deciding to be someone your future self can actually trust.
So if you only remember one thing from today, let it be this. You don't need to feel ready.
You just need to show up, once, in whatever small way you can manage, and then again tomorrow.
And if today got you thinking about where all of this is actually heading, we have an episode all about setting real-life goals. It's a natural next step from here. Discipline is just a promise, kept quietly, over and over.
This is Michelle.
And this is Chris.
Take care of your English.
And take care of your heart. Bye, everyone.
Bye.